Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we had originally planned to go to the zoo, but we ended up with a sicko. Clayton got sick the night before we were going to leave and had thrown up several times, so we ended up staying home. Thankfully he did end up feeling better for the rest of the day, but I also ended up with a cold, and by the time I was done doing school with the kids this morning, my voice had disappeared, and you can hear it still is not completely back. So since we were staying home, I had some projects to get done. I went outside and watered my garden. I am not sure about this garden. I don't know if I want to keep going with it or if I should just call it quits for now. I still probably have a couple months worth of growing season left, but I just feel like my efforts are not paying off and I'm barely getting anything. I got one green bean off the plants on this particular day. So far I'm going to keep going, but I don't know how much longer that's going to last. This plant here looks very sad. I actually got it from my sister and my nephew for Mother's Day, and it just has always looked sad. I don't know what to do for it or how to make it better, but it just needs some help that I am not able to give it. So I keep watering it, and it just perks up when I water it, and then it slowly droops for the rest of the day. I was hungry this morning. I made myself some eggs with some American cheese and butter, and I just ate these, and then we went ahead and got our schoolwork started. The kids are able to do a lot of their schoolwork on their own, which I'm very thankful for. This math has been wonderful for that. And then I really enjoy the time I get to spend with my little guys because my bigger kids are able to work on their own now, and I don't have to help them quite as much. My kids spend a lot of time playing with Legos. I think I probably could get rid of all of the other toys in the house, and as long as I keep the Legos, they would be happy because they spend hours in there building and taking apart and reconstructing with their Legos. They just love them so much. This book that Cadence is reading is one of the ones that I got at the flea market when we were in Branson. It's kind of a fun book. It has the Katie No Pocket picture book in it, and it actually is the original version, so it's much longer than the one that's more common now. We got out our picture book version and compared it, and the one that Cadence is reading is different, similar but different, and much longer than the picture book. My husband is at class today, and so for lunch I usually do something pretty simple. I had this leftover spaghetti from the other day when I had re-warmed it up again, and so I put it in a baking dish and put cheese on top. And then we stuck it in the toaster oven and just let it warm up in there and cook until the cheese was melted and a little crunchy and brown on top. And then we served this just with some bread that we had sitting on the counter. We had put some butter and garlic salt on it and stuck it under the broiler. And that was our lunch for today for the kids. For myself, I had some leftover beef stroganoff from the day before. I like to take the Egg Life wraps and slice them up really thin, and then I use those like noodles. And I made my beef stroganoff with ground beef and heavy cream. I put some cream cheese in it and then just a little salt and pepper. And I cook the cream until it reduces down to a thicker gravy. And so that's what I was doing here. I had some leftover hamburger that I'm just taking a little bit of extra out because I didn't have a ton of leftovers from the day before of the stroganoff. And then I actually used the rest of that hamburger for dinner for this night, and just helped me to realize how handy it is to have cooked meat already in my refrigerator. So I may try to start doing that in the future, just cooking a big batch of hamburger and having it in the fridge where I can pull it out and rewarm it for several different meals. It makes mealtime so much quicker. So after I got this all mixed in, I just let this sit and simmer and boil until it was reduced down to the thickness that I wanted it to be. I almost went a little bit too far because I got distracted doing other things, but it still was good and it filled me up. I didn't even finish eating all of it. It was a lot. I was starving by this time. This is the day I was just hungry, but it turned out to be a lot and it was very, very good. After lunch, since my voice had completely disappeared, I decided that I really needed a nap. I could barely stay awake and just wasn't feeling fantastic. So the kids and I sat down on the couch. We watched Marco Polo and Christopher Columbus and Pocahontas, and then we watched Pocahontas again, and we compared the Disney Pocahontas to what we've been reading about in our schooling, and the differences and the things that were incorrect and all of that. It was super fun for the kids to be able to do that afternoon. I often forget that I've got some fun educational videos that would go really well with our schooling. I just need to sit down and look through them and then schedule them out for the times that we are learning about those different people in history. After my nap and after we were done watching the movies, it was time for me to start dinner. I decided to make cheeseburger cabbage pocket rolls for this night. I had a head of cabbage that we had gotten at the free food bank, and it needed to be used up. So I used the rest of the ground beef that I had already cooked in the refrigerator, and I poured that into my pan, and then I chopped up half of the head of cabbage and put it in there. It turned out to be way plenty. I usually do a whole head of cabbage, but since I didn't have as much hamburger this time, I decided to just do half, and it was perfect for the amount of rolls that I was making. This is a favorite meal in our house, and it is a little bit time consuming, but it's definitely worth it. And I have not made these in quite a while, and it was really fun to see how many kids came through the kitchen and realized what I was making and did a little shout and a jump for joy because they were excited about having dinner that night. Even my oldest son, who is 15 and very quiet, he even let out a little whoop because he was so excited to be eating these. So if you want to give this recipe a try, I will leave a link in the description box for the recipe. You can head over to my blog and check that out. I think there's a printable recipe over there also. This is a recipe that my husband cannot resist, and he did end up eating a couple of these rolls for dinner on this night, and I also had one. We have noticed, at least I have noticed, that if I can keep the carbs and the wheat at a minimum and not be eating a whole bunch every single day, I don't feel terrible after I eat it at all. It actually doesn't bother me. But my husband has noticed that when he eats the wheat and the gluten and the carbs, it does bother him a little bit after being on the carnivore diet for so long. So he picks and chooses what he wants to eat, but this is something that he could not pass up. And this day actually was day 100 of us being on the carnivore diet, and so we kind of treated this meal as a little celebration treat for making it that long and sticking to it as well as we have. And then after dinner, we ended up just lounging on the couch watching YouTube because I was feeling bad. I was ready for bed about as soon as dinner was over. And everyone else just wanted to hang out. And with Clayton still recovering from being sick, we decided that was a great idea. So that is what we did for the rest of the evening. Thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all tomorrow with another one. Bye-bye.